21st Century Entrepreneurship with Martin Piskarik.
So there's a simple formula for success. It's 5 steps. Number 1, dreams. They got to multiply by, not just add to, but multiply by goal. So dream, goal, then you got to learn. Most people go straight from goal to doing things, and I'll explain why in a minute. How is the enemy of goals. So dreams times goals times learning times plans, which, that's the one boring part of the 5 formulas, times action equals success. You got to have the big dreams. If there's no dreams, there's no necessity to do your best. There's no necessity to perform at your highest level. The goals then give you an idea of what do I need to learn and plan. Because from the goal, you work backwards to develop the plan. And to develop the plan, you got to work backwards to work out what podcasts, what books, what things, what coach, what mentor, what groups do I need to join. And from there, you got to get to doing the work. And that's what the plan does. You plan the work and then you go to work. If you want something to be achieved, like I would never want to get on a flight with a pilot that doesn't have a flight plan, that hasn't done the flight checklist. Why? I want them to succeed. If you want to succeed, you got to have a plan. And pilots like to succeed 100% of the time. So we give them the plan. I'm Brad Sugars, 18 books on the subject of business and success and wealth, $2.5 billion in sales, 1.5 million YouTube. You name it, I've done it. I'm the #1 business coach in the world. I run the largest business coaching company in the world, more than 1,100 offices in 80 countries. And today we're going to discuss how you can succeed. The recipe of our success is a 6-step formula. You see, most people, when they build a business, they focus on being good at the job of the business, or good at being a plumber, or good at being an accountant. We focus on 6 stages of building. Number 1, mastery. There's 4 areas of mastery that you got to get very good at. Then we go to marketing, and there's 5 ways to do marketing as a formula for that. Then we go to building the systems, 9 steps to systemization. Then we go to team building, 6 keys to a winning team. Then we go to scale, which there's 5 disciplines of scale. And then we get to the freedom end, where you either exit the business or you allow the business to run without you. Ultimately, it comes back to this definition. Business is a commercial, profitable enterprise that works without you. Business ownership is one of the loneliest jobs in the world. Being an entrepreneur, who do you talk to? And that's why we started the coaching industry. 31 years ago, I started coaching business people because there was a loneliness to it. There was not understanding what to do every day. They were good at the job of the business, but not necessarily good at being an owner of a business or running a business type thing. And so by working with them and coaching them, we could hold their hand and lead them to the path of a great business, lead them to a path of a business that can work without them, and a business that builds wealth for them. Because the only real reason to go into business is to build an asset that you can at some stage sell so that you create wealth for yourself and your family. I'm a father of 5, and one of the things that I noticed early on in business is that it just sucked my time. Like, you wouldn't have time with the kids. You'd miss things. You'd not see stuff. And I wanted to build a business that could run and create wealth for myself, my team, my franchise partners. We're a franchise business at ActionCoach. And what I looked for was methodologies via which we can do that. And I'm pretty proud to say that, we have a net promoter score in the 80s every year for the last 5 years. We've won franchise of the year. We've been top 10. In fact, for 10 years running, we've been in the FBR top 50 franchises in the world. And I don't tell you that to impress you, but to impress upon you the things we do every day are the things that make us successful. Then they make our customers successful as well. And, we could Uh, if you look at customer success, that's goes back to the Net Promoter Score. They love us. At our annual awards, they get up and actually use the word love, which is kind of unique in business, but it's something we really want our customers to love doing business with us, because we want them to fall in love with their business again. You know, we want them to not have a business that drives them. We want them to be able to drive their business. So one of the areas we look at is the marketing in most companies. And you break marketing down, my formula is 5 ways. And it's got to be leads times conversion rate equals number of customers. Then number of customers is multiplied by transaction, average transaction, so repeat business rate, multiplied by average sale. That gives you total sales. Then you multiply that by the 5th area, which is the margins, which gives you profitability of the company. Now, when we go into a company, we start measuring those things. And that's where most businesses don't. They don't know what is our lead flow per day? What is our exact conversion rate today? And so we measure those numbers. And what we start to find when we look at those 5 areas is that there's probably 2 of the 5 areas where we need to get immediate attention. And it might be average sale. It might be repeat business rate. It might be the margins. You know, they might have a great level of sales, but just no profitability built into the business. So that's where what I did was say, okay, how many strategies are there for lead generation? And again, there's probably about 90 strategies for lead generation, systematized in my first ever book, Instant Cash Flow, which is 20 something years old now. We wrote these things and we went through in detail. How do you improve each of the 5 areas? Because here's the magic of it. If you improve each of the 5 areas by just 10%, so you work on it for 6 months, 3 months, 12 months, whatever it is, the multiplier effect kicks in and that leverages it up. So you actually get a 61% increase in the bottom line. I was with a client just last week at our annual awards, and they sat down and they said to me, Brad, well, this is what happened to our conversion rate. Now, this guy was in the garage doors business. So, you know, you think they replace your garage doors or you put garage doors on a brand new building. Well, when we looked at his advertising was very name, rank, and serial number, whether it was on his Google ads, whether it was his website. It didn't explain any of the benefits of his business. So we had to actually shift him to more testimonial based before and afters. We had to shift him to his customers explaining the story rather than him explaining the story. And it brought a 1,280% increase in his actual lead flow from his marketing, because it was real. It wasn't just a, hey, we're this company and you should buy from us. It was, here's what makes the difference. And I think that a lot of people, when it comes to marketing, well, there's 2 things I think people misunderstand when it comes to marketing. Firstly, your job is to get people to say, I'm interested. And your second job as a marketer is to get them to say, I'm ready. I'm interested. Statistically, we see that about 8% of people, when they raise their hand to say, I'm interested, like they download an ebook or they sign up for your newsletter or whatever methodology they do, about 8% are ready to buy right now. That means 92% of people actually have to be nurtured. So you need a nurture sequence, a newsletter, you need testimonials, maybe a podcast, maybe a blog. You need all of these things to give that person the time and the knowledge about you and your business to be able to make that decision about you. And I think that's a big part. I'm interested is very different to I'm ready. It's I'm interested is like a marketing qualified lead, an MQL. I'm ready is a sales qualified lead, an SQL. You know, Martin, when I started in business, I really thought my job was the old hustle and grind. I thought my job was to be the hardest worker in the business because I was the owner. What I realized later on, though, is that it's not about me being the hardest worker. It's about me creating a business that works so I don't have to. And what I mean by that is I worked so hard in the beginning and I wore it as a badge of honor. I was like, you know, I did this on my own. I bootstrapped my way. I did all of these things. What I realized later on is me working that hard covered up the fact that my sales system didn't work. I didn't actually have a sales system. I just did all of the sales. And, you know, the marketing didn't work. I just did, you know, I worked so hard that I covered up those challenges. And I think the first thing that a lot of business people need to do when they go into deciding to grow their business is realize that The moment you set a new goal, what you've got to do then is sit back and say, okay, things need to change. Because, and even I was 16 years of old, Martin, when I said to my friends, I'm going to build a business. I'm going to retire at 25. Now, one of my friends, his dad said, there's no way you can retire at 25. Now, technically, he was correct. 16-year-old me couldn't achieve that. What he didn't realize, and what most business people don't realize, is that if you grow, the business grows. The moment you dedicate yourself to learning and growing and understanding, and maybe it's business planning you got to learn, maybe it's management, maybe it's leadership, maybe it's sales. Because I was willing to just read and study and attend and learn, I think the biggest key to success in business is learning and growing. Your business cannot outgrow you. The moment you realize that you being standing still stops the business growing is the moment you realize that, hey, if I keep learning and growing, the business will keep learning and growing. Now, sometimes that means I got to learn enough to hire the right person, Martin. Sometimes it's like, well, I got to hire a marketing person. Well, I don't know anything about marketing. Maybe I should read some books on marketing so that when I do go to hire someone, I can at least ask them the right questions. I can at least know if they're going to succeed or not in helping my business grow. So the first thing a business owner has to do when they're looking for growth is get very clear on what it is they're aiming to build. What is it that you want? Covey said it in 7 Habits, begin with the end in mind. So what does your business look like when it's finished? Now, this term of a finished business means that it can run without you. Like you can take a 3-month or a 6-month vacation, it'll run without you. Now, it seems strange, especially if you're just starting out in business, to say, you know what? 10 years from now or 7 years from now, I want this business to look like this. I want it to have 10 million in sales. I want it to have $1 million in profitability. I want it to be worth $5 million. I want this, and this. If you begin with the end in mind, then you can work backwards from that goal, from that dream of the business. You start with knowing what you're aiming to create. And then, as Gerber says, you go to work on the business. You don't go to work just being a plumber. Your first goal is to employ plumbers to do the plumbing work so that you can build the business. You've got to grow into a great business owner. I remember I was 21 years of age and I went to my dad and I said, you know what, Dad, I just can't get good people. And my dad looked at me. He's a very blunt Australian man. And he says, Brad, you get the people you deserve. I went, what? He said, well, you're an average manager running an average business. Highest caliber a person wants to work for you is average. He said, until you're a great leader, great manager running a great company with big dreams and big goals, great people don't want to work for a company that doesn't have massive goals and big vision and a reason for being in business. I talk about it being a mission. The mission of a business is very important. Your customers have got to love doing business with you, and your team's got to love coming to work, and you've got to love what you do every day. It's not just enough to be in business and make a profit. In today's world, you've got to have something more. You got to give back. Our business gives back just by helping people. In fact, for 31 years, every team member of mine has done 5 hours of pro bono work every single week. In other words, we give a free hour to a charity, and that's part of our foundation where we coach a charity for free. Every team member does that. In the charity, in our foundation, we also run a program called YES, Young Entrepreneurs Smart Start, and we take young people through. You don't have to go and get a job. You can go and build a business and give other people jobs. But what my team does is every single week, we give away 4 hours to 4 business people that need help, 4 business owners that are looking to grow. You've got to be giving back today. You can't just be taking. You've got to build a business, and especially the millennial generation, they've really come to this. Why are we in business? Who you are and why you do what you do. I started Action Coach with the vision of world abundance through business re-education. It's not about us making a lot of money. It's about creating abundance in the entire world. Now, if we do that, of course, we will make a lot of money. But the point of it is you've got to be an organization that builds people, that does all of those things. See, if you look at it, the job of a CEO is really 4 things. There's number 1 job of a CEO is to say no to things. Number 2 is the financials. Number 3 is employee engagement. And number 4 is customer satisfaction. The CEO's role is to really measure those things. If you're taking care of the numbers, you're taking care of your people, you're taking care of your customers, and you're saying no to things, you're probably being good as, now you don't say no to everything, Martin, but you've got to say a no to the things that take you off track from your dreams, goals, visions of the business. Success is a really interesting thing. When you work out what are the formulaic parts of success, in fact, we do a whole success score, Martin, and I'd love for everyone to just take the success score analysis and see where are you at and where do you have gaps so that you can look at what can make you more successful today. If you want to find out more, jump on actioncoach.com for the business coaching, bradsugars.com for all the training and the success score, or you can find me on every social media platform. If you want to reach me directly, it's definitely through the website, bradsugars.com.
"21st Century Entrepreneurship" with Martin Piskarik.
Imagine a space where triumphs, trials, and tales of entrepreneurship come alive. Welcome to the 21st Century Entrepreneurship Podcast, a gold awarded journey hosted by Martin Piskarik, connecting with listeners in 95 countries and ranking in the top 0.5% of all podcasts. Join our exclusive community, elevate your perspective, and embark on the path to success.